எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனே தமிழனே உன் சீரிழமை திறம்பியந்த செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்ததுமே வாழ்த்ததுமே வாழ்த்ததுமே.
Now I call upon Dr. Pradeepa, Head Department of English, to introduce our resource person, Dr. P. Shanmugavadigu.
A warm good evening to all. I take immense pride and privilege in welcoming this august gathering to the 7-day national level faculty development program. First of all, I'd like to welcome our respected Secretary Sir, Director Sir, Principal Ma'am, Dean Academics Ma'am, and Dean Arts Ma'am, who has been the source of support and encouragement in all our endeavors. Now, I welcome our respected guest speaker of the day, Dr. P. Shanmugavadigu Ma'am, Professor, Head, Department of Computer Science, IQAC Director, Gandhigram University. Ma'am has 30 years of teaching experience and 20 years of research experience. Her area of specialization includes medical image analysis, object recognition, parallel computing, and content-based tribal. Ma'am? Adding on to her credits, she has published various books, journals, and chapters. She has upholded various prestigious positions. We are so delighted to have you here with us today, ma'am. Welcome you, ma'am. I wholeheartedly welcome the IQAC coordinators, IQAC team, HODs, and faculties of Mangarkarasi College of Arts and Science for Women. I extend my warm Sunday welcome to all my dear participants. Once again, I welcome you all.
Ma'am, Shanmugavadigu ma'am, you can start the session.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Ma'am, you're audible, ma'am. You can carry on.
So, pleasant good evening to everyone. I thank and congratulate the Mangarkarasi College of Arts and Science for Women for having organized this wonderful 7-day faculty development program on the practices of NAC. I think you had wonderful sessions in the Esther evenings since Monday, and I hope this is the last lap of this entire program, and you will be winding up this program after my session. I thank the organizers for this opportunity, and I also welcome all the participants to my session. In my session, we are going to focus on the first two criteria. We will just look into it, curricular aspects as well as teaching, learning, and evaluation. And let me move on to my PPT. Is the PPT clear to you all?
Yes, ma'am, it is clear,
Hello?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am, it is clear.
Can you see my PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I expect one of you to respond, please.
Yes,
Ma'am,
madam.
your PPT slide is
Yes,
clear,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Very clear. We are responding.
Ma'am.
I'm audible, right? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Fine. So, in the coming moments, we will be focusing on the curricular aspects as well as teaching, learning, and evaluation in the context of NAC. So, as we all know, the SNAC has become the most important exercise for each and every higher educational institution because of its implications and impact on quality assurance as well as sustenance. And I know, though it has become mandatory, many of the institutions find it very difficult to match the available statistics and data with the standards of NAC. So every higher educational institution, each and every higher educational institution is trying its best. It is making its best effort. It is turning every stone possible. And every institution burns its midnight oil to come out with very good grading. So it is more like a 5 year nightmare program. So for all the 5 years, we have to toil and then we have to wait. What could be our grading in the NAC? So every institution is consciously working on it, and every institution pays conscious as well as sincere attempt to make this exercise of NAC as fruitful and as successful as possible. So you must have had good deliberations on the other criteria, and because there was a kind of postponement of my session, now we are discussing about this at the end of this 7 day program. And the first one is curricular enrichment, and the second one is teaching, learning, and evaluation. See, as we take any higher educational institution, the primary mandate is to provide education. So I do not know, like now this must be a kind of consortium of teaching faculty members here in this workshop. And I do not know how many of you really wanted to become a teacher and has become a teacher, and how many of you turned out to be a teacher by chance. But please take my words, this teaching is the best profession on the earth because you have the satisfaction of making someone educated and making someone knowledgeable and making someone to earn his or her bread. So this is the noble profession, and because of the changing trend, because of the changing criteria, and we are being vested with multiple additional responsibilities. So, like somehow or the other, we have to just make up for all those things. So, for every teaching staff, this becomes a kind of additional responsibility. And once we enroll ourselves as a faculty in any possible higher education institution, in your higher education institution, for instance, this becomes a moral binding, and we become accountable to ensure quality in your higher education institution. I become accountable, I become responsible for the quality assurance, sustenance in my educational institution. So there are very many factors to be looked into, and we have to strike a balance between all the 7 criteria. And in some institution there may be a kind of imbalance, so we try to capitalize on the advantage. And suppose if it is an affiliated college, we have to just harness the potential of that affiliated college in all the possible domains. And if it is an autonomous institution, and we have to see how this autonomy can be capitalized in order to approve its potential in the case of NAC assessment and accreditation. So in that line, and there is no second thought and there is no debate about whether this curricular enrichment, teaching, learning, evaluation occupies the first place or second place or last place. And as simple as that, this is the foremost entity of any higher educational institution, because teaching, learning is the first dimension of any higher educational institution. Despite research being the second one and outreach program being the third component. So we are going to focus on what best a teacher can do and how best we can be innovative and how best we can be creative and how best we can be unique in providing this curricular aspects. Okay, let me move on to the rest. So now, as I told you in the beginning, like change is permanent and we just subject to changes and we are exposed to changes and we become agent of changes whether we like it or not, and we do not know whether we have to thank this pandemic or not. And this pandemic has pushed every one of us to a corner, and it has made every one of us to realize this ICT is the ideal tool for reaching out to the students who are far and near. And before the outbreak of pandemic, we never thought we will be able to get connected like this through a kind of virtual training program, faculty development program, or conference, or whatever be the kind of exercise. But now you see, like it becomes a kind of very simple exercise. Like you can just get connected to any person abroad or anybody. So organizing these kind of programs have become a kind of very easy component, all because we were forced to do this. So when there is a compulsion, when there's a necessity, when you are pushed to a corner, right, whether it is do or die, then we always raise up to the occasion and we try to prove ourselves, and then we just show to the world that it is possible for me. So is NAC. And as we go by the words of Alvin Toffler, who is a very famous writer, in one of his most sold out books called Future Shock, he just makes a mention about, or he just discriminates who is learned and who is unlearned, or who is literate and who is illiterate. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write. It is not the question of whether I can read or write, whether I have the ability to read and write. It is all about whether I have the ability to change myself, whether I can adapt myself to the changing scenario by possessing the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. See now, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn cannot be called as literate. This is his a verdict on the definition of being literate and illiterate. So if there is a faculty who doesn't want to get change, who doesn't want to get tuned to the changes, then he or she is extinct, or he or she will be proved to be obsolete. So he or she will be proved to be out of the task as such. So it's very important to sensitize ourselves, like whatever be the new phenomenon, whatever be the new requirement, whatever be the new procedure that we have to get adapted to. First of all, we need the readiness. So we should be ready to get exposed to changes, and we should be ready to face the changes, face the challenges of the changes, and we must be ready to strategize ourselves to be successful in accordance with the changes, and then just use that change attitude, right? The changing attitude as a lesson, so that you will be able to apply the same for any kind of possible situation. Well, so this is my session coverage, and we are just going to talk about this change is permanent. I just made a mention, few more slides are there on this. And then curricular design, teaching, learning, and evaluation. And if you are interested, we can spend few minutes on question and answer. So these are the words of Dalai Lama, who says, developing inner values is much like physical exercise. Now, attitude matters a lot. It is not the question whether the snack exercise is going to be a tough job or easy job, or whether it is going to be a taxing job, whatever it is. It all matters about your attitude. So developing inner values is much like physical exercise. The more we train our abilities, the stronger they become. The difference is that, unlike the body, when it comes to the training the mind, there is no limit to how far we can go. Right? So there is no limit to train ourselves. And all of you must be knowing brain has got tremendous potential to do something beyond what we dream or what we understand, because it is all about training the brain, and only based on based on the philosophy of training the brain, now the whole world is working towards artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and whatnot. So we have not even tapped the potential of the entire brain. We are just only scratching the surface of our brain potential. So if you want to be productive, if you want to be innovative, if you want to be a role model, and if you want to set a model, right, no one can stop you. So you have to have, first of all, very good perception about yourself. Like, it is all about, I am capable of doing anything and everything. See, I really appreciate the effort taken by the coordinators of this 7-day workshop, the NAC coordinators of Mangair Karasi College of Arts and Science for Women. And I have seen them. They always have the zeal to do something different. They always have the zeal to excel, right? They just look out for the opportunities. They just look around in the nearby institutions. What are the best practices which can be imbibed by this institution? So I take this opportunity to congratulate the entire team, who is always vibrant, and all my praise and regards for them. Okay, so now we have to first of all keep our mind open. We have to keep our eyes, ears open, because the opportunities to excel is plenty, right? So it is all about whether we have the interest to excel or not. So if that is there, anything and everything is possible. And I think all of you must be aware of this Kaizen principle. Now, how am I going to prepare the document? It cannot happen overnight. It has to be a kind of continuous phenomenon, and it should be a kind of a systematic phenomenon. It should be a progressive phenomenon. For that reason, like, if you know about this Kaizen principle, probably it may give you better insight, or it may just prepare our mind mentally how best we can show some incremental improvement in the process of NAC, or whatever be the platform, whether it is your personal improvement or professional improvement, whether it is whatever be your target, right? This is a common phenomenon principle which can be applied, that will definitely give you visible success. So throughout all your old fixed ideas and traditional ways on how to do things, see, every one of us have got a fixed, a very static, a very rigid framework of mind. See, I am capable of doing only this much. So I cannot go beyond this point. And this is my limitation. And this is my boundary. This is how we always feel and think. And if you have the ability to break your own barrier, right, if you feel that I am capable of doing much more than what is expected out of me, like, then that becomes a starting point for your success. So throughout all your old fixed ideas and traditional ways on how to do things, that is point number one. Then point number two focuses on treat others as you want to be treated. That's very important. This is what you call as, like, you should always be empathetic. Like, if you see someone in trouble, right, try to put yourself in their shoes, and then try to understand how hard it is to undergo a problem or undergo a trouble. So treat others as you want to be treated. Do not blame anyone. Blame processes, and not the individual. So suppose if something goes wrong, you can blame the process. You can blame the entire the phenomenon, but not the individual, right? You should inculcate the attitude of not blaming anyone for any kind of problem. Third point is think positive, right? Please don't ever say I can't, right? Please don't say I can't do this. Always think that I can do it. There will be a humpty number of ways possible. So don't wait for perfection. 1% improvement now is fine, right? And let us try to make progressive improvement. If there is going to be increment, that is 1% increment, that's also perfect. If there is going to be 1% improvement in your attitude, in your action, that's perfect. So correct mistakes as soon as they are found. And if there is any mistake that is found in front of you, or if you find yourself making some mistake in the process, in the thought process, in the kind of session that you give, be always prepared, be open, be ready to accept that something has gone wrong. So it should be corrected. I have to correct it. So please be open to correct yourself, correct mistakes as soon as they are found. So these 10 points of Kaizen principle is ideally suitable for any kind of, case that you take. It can be professional, it can be practical, it can even be a personal. So don't substitute money for thinking, creativity before capital, right? So, like, we cannot equate this component called money for each and everything, though money matters a lot. So, there are certain things which cannot be equated with rewards or money as a kind of payoff, right? So, always be little generous and try to do things and don't equate everything for the benefit of money. For any problem, keep asking why until you get the root cause. So we should try to find what is the cause of this problem, what is the aspect or what is the element that makes this to happen wrong, or which really hampers the success, which really, which is really seen as an obstacle, right? You have to try to understand. So you have to keep asking questions, and you keep asking questions until you hit upon the right answer or the right cause. So, better the wisdom of five people than the expertise of one. That's why we say that team works. See, you have to have a good spirit to work in a team. So, team can be expanded as together everyone achieves more. I repeat, together everyone achieves more. So, if you have a kind of team spirit, and if you feel that four or five members can work in the best possible way, so that is very hard unless you have the team spirit, and you have to have volunteerism, and you have to have a kind of flexibility, and you must be able to accept others' opinion, and you should have the courage and the competency to put your own ideas which are found to be good. That involves a lot of other attitude, but even then team spirit is very important. So, better the wisdom of five people than expertise of one, and base decisions on data, not on opinions. So, being a teacher, the most important or one of the important attributes of a teacher is we should not be prejudiced, right? We should not have preconceived notions. See, like, before something can happen, I cannot have a kind of wrong perception about something or over perception about something. So base all your decisions, base all your opinions only on data, not on baseless opinions. So improvement opportunities are endless, right? To keep moving. As we look out for opportunities, there may be hundreds of thousands of opportunities in front of you. So keep moving by making use of those opportunities. So those who are interested can just Google on who this Elon Musk is. He's such a successful business person, and he gives information about 10 different rules for success. Point number one: act despite fear. And every one of us, by nature, may have some fear about doing something new, or when you are vested with a very big responsibility. And all of us may be having a kind of fear, and that should be, first of all, broken. So, act despite fear. That is point number one. And then focus on the customers. And when we talk about the customers, and here we call them as stakeholders because he's a business person, he called them as customers. And now, as we talk about a teacher, an institution, an organization, then we have to refer to the customers in terms of parents, in terms of employers, in terms of governmental organization. You attempt to do something, there is always a possibility, there is always a probability that we may fail. So please try to keep your mind open and try to face the music, right? If you fail, nothing wrong. There is always a next chance for being a successful person. So expect to fail and have a sense of humor. and we are not robots, right? And we are living human beings with flesh and blood. So always, we should always have a feeling that we should have the sense of humor, and we should, I mean, regard people, respect people around us. So aim for perfection, right? You may not be able to achieve perfection, but you should have at least aim to be as perfect as possible in all the activities that you take up. So do your course, right? You have got your responsibilities, you have got your framework of duties, and you have got a set of responsibilities vested on you by the administration, by the organization. Please do that. So be an adventurer. See, like, what is the point in leading a life which is very stale or and an ordinary one, right? Now, just please let us look at your attitude when you want to go to purchase a refrigerator, right? We just ask for what is the latest model. We never go back and ask that I want an antique item unless you want to put it in the showcase, right? Unless otherwise, right, we always go for the latest model. Why? Because we want to have the benefits of the latest technology, and then we just want to enjoy the benefit of the technology. So when you want everything in front of you as the latest one, with the latest technology enabled one, what is the point in just keeping yourself in a nutshell and say that I'm happy with what I'm doing? I don't want to venture into the new activities. So you always be an adventurer, right? Just don't try to be stale and get out of your shell, and then prove that you are capable of doing something extraordinary. It is not ordinary activities, extraordinary. So inspire greatness. So just look at those institutions who are performing well, who is getting A plus plus, right? And then try to get their possible inputs and try to use them as effectively as possible. Just try to make use of those things. So here, once again. So I think every one of you must have, tutored on this kind of thing, criterion-wise differential weightage, right? Teaching, learning, curricular aspect, teaching, learning, research and research consultancy and extension, infrastructure, learning resources, student support and progression, governance, leadership and management, innovation, best practices, all those stuff. uh, I think you must have got also thoroughly exposed on all these things. So now, once again, there is some overlapping. Yeah. So now we are going to focus on this curricular aspects. Just once again, I will just once again. Well, I trust the slide is visible to you, whatever that I'm projecting. So this is about the curricular aspect. You must have come across curriculum planning and implementation, academic flexibility, then curricular enrichment, as well as feedback system. Now, every one of us is working on it. All of us are aware of it. But still, how best we can make it more innovative and how best we can try to stand alone or stand out in the entire crowd so that you will be noticed by others. Now, please remember the 7 criteria, whatever that the NAC has framed or formulated, are ideally good for making yourself visible in the arena of higher educational institution. So each and every novel attempt that you do is going to greatly help you in just making yourself visible as well as unique. So in this line, what is that you have in this curricular aspect? Curricular planning and implementation, academic flexibility, curricular enrichment, feedback system. And then any other relevant information which any institution wants to include can also be given. So as we talk about this, right, and as we talk about the curriculum, um, curriculum is the one that plays a very important role in providing what is the special input that I am giving for my student, right, so that he or she will be able to face the next level of progression in the best possible way. If he or she is going to appear for any kind of entrance examination seeking admission in a premier institution, my curriculum must be able to help him or her. And if I'm going to place my student in front of the employer, then my curriculum must be able to match with the expectations of the industry. Now, there are some teachers like who just live with their notes, and the notes might have got prepared when he or she was a student. So they will just be like glued to the notes, and they will come with the notes, just read the notes or write something from the notes and give the notes to them. And if the notes is taken out of them, right, they become speechless. So there are certain readers who just read it. Please, my faculty members, dear friends, please remember. Now, the students are much, much smarter than any of us. The students can gauge the potential of any teacher in the first session itself. So please try to exhibit, project your expertise, because you are supposed to be the repository of knowledge in front of the student. So whatever that you are going to deliver, whatever that you design in the form of a curriculum is going to play a very great impact in the minds of the students. So this is the initiatives for effective curricular delivery. This is the foremost thing. So development of curriculum for own programs and processes. So this is demanding to come out with the best curriculum possible. Then how we can incorporate the innovativeness. It is based on the kind of combinations you have for the core as well as electives. So as we talk about core, right, we have to have a clear distinction about which courses are going to be offered as core and which courses are to be given as electives, because sometimes we try to introduce one course which has to be a core course, but because there is no slot available, we try to put it in the elective, and we know pretty sure that this is going to be a compulsory elective. That should not be the case. There should be a kind of, we call that as academic flexibility for the teachers as well as for the students to just go ahead. Now, as you look into the to the key points of NEP 2020, NEP 2020 is going to give you 100% academic flexibility. A teacher need not go with the general framework of a curriculum. And if possible, a teacher can design his or her own syllabus, her own methodology of evaluation, right? That's all going to be in place, like in a very short period of time. Days are not very far off where we are going to witness all these things. So we should have a thorough vision and a clarity about what are the courses to be offered as core and what are the courses to be offered as elective. So then it's very important to have a true sense of choice-based credit system. It is not just to have the choice in the title and there is not going to be any choice as such in the curriculum. So it should be 100% choice-based credit system. So Now, as we have the kind of setup of a different kind of institutions as self-financing, right, then aided and a deemed university and centrally funded university, state-funded university, in terms of their functionality and the freedom and their limitations, there are a lot of variations. So, are we going to offer self-financing program if it is a really, need of the hour now? Every institution is coming out with BSc data science, MSc data science, or integrated program on data science, because data science is going to create enormous opportunity in the coming years. So now we try to meet the demand that is going to be created by the domain of data science in the coming years. So if there is going to be such program where there cannot be support given by the institution, you can go for a self-supporting program. So there should be a proper justification about what are the programs that you can offer a self-supporting program and the like. So skill development programs, it is not for the sake of giving skill development program. If you have a program called skill development program, then you have to ensure and you should ascertain that this program has helped the student to really come out with some amount of skill which is needed in the industry, which cannot be offered through the core or elective components. So then it should be a kind of blended learning, and they have to learn through these kind of core elective and other courses. In addition to that, we have to encourage the children to enroll for NPTEL courses, NMEICT courses, so that they will be able to learn from two different modes, and that will really help them to understand the concepts in the best possible way. So curricular enrichment, graduates and employable. See now, the curricular enrichment should focus on delivering the maximum knowledge possible from the perspective of higher studies as well as from the employment market. So then, as we talk about creating a framework that has to take into consideration uh, what is the essential component that is present in the curriculum that meets the local need of the community, that addresses the or provides solution for the community that is nearby to your institution. So these are all the questions that really tries to test how best we try to understand the local need, global need, regional need, national needs, and how are we going to incorporate the essential components. That's the reason why it is asking how many of your courses are employability oriented, how many of your courses are able to help the students to take up a kind of a venture of entrepreneurship, and how many of them will help them to get into other progressions. So you have to make a proper audit about what is expected out of all these domains, and we have to ensure the essential components should be present in your curriculum. So multidisciplinary issues. Now, if it is going to be women's college, right, then we focus on special courses which will empower the women and which can help them to be a better human being.